Do you think it's possible to carve your name into history, not by winning, but by losing? To wield a technique so lethal it could cut a bird from the sky, yet still fall in the final moment? That is the legend of Sasaki Kojiro. He was branded the greatest loser, a man who walked into duel after duel, only to be cut down again and again. His name carried the weight of mockery spoken with scorn by rivals, with pity by onlookers. In an age where a single defeat could erase a man's honor, such a record should have buried him forever. And yet, from the ashes of humiliation, Sasaki Kojiro rose not broken, but sharpened, until the very mention of his name carried fear across Japan. To truly understand Kojiro, we must return to the early 1600 BC, an era when the sword was more than steel. It was identity, honor, and destiny bound into a single edge. For the samurai, every duel was a reckoning. To win was to secure your clan's name in the pages of history. To lose was not a stumble, it was the stripping away of honor, the erasure of legacy, the death of everything you stood for. Kojiro was no prodigy. He was not the boy who bested masters before his voice had even changed. He was the one beaten, humiliated, mocked at every turn. Loss was constant. Defeat was familiar. Most men would have broken. Kojiro did not. He buried himself in the grind. Harder, longer, relentless. Every strike, every step, every moment was sharpened into precision. Every bruise taught him timing. Every scar mapped his failures. Victory did not come easy, so he mastered failure and turned it into a weapon. In the quiet hours before dawn, Kojiro could be seen alone in the training hall. The floorboards groaned under the weight of his relentless practice. Every swing, every footstep, every measured movement was designed to train his reflexes, test his endurance, and condition his mind to withstand the crushing pressure of life or death. Sweat and blood mingled, leaving a silent testament to a man who refused to surrender to ridicule. When the wind howled through the valley, he could be found outside, practicing against the elements. Rain whipped across his face, mud clung to his boots, and the chill of the morning pierced his skin. Yet he moved with focus. Each swing of the Monohoshizao cutting through the air like a promise. No force on this earth could stop him from becoming what he was meant to be. The world sought to break him. He broke the world instead. Kojiro's weapon was a statement. The Monohoshizao, a nodachi so massive, no one else could even lift it, nicknamed the drying pole. Clumsy for anyone else, perfect for him. From it, he forged the Tsubame Geishi, the swallow reversal. A strike so fast it was almost invisible, precise enough to fell a bird in flight. What looked like weakness became reach, speed, and a killing edge no one could match. By then, Kojiro was no longer a punchline. His name carried weight, his technique carried fear. But the shadow of his past never left him. Perhaps that was his true advantage. He knew, more than anyone, that defeat was never the end. It was preparation. And then came the duel that would seal his fate forever. His opponent? Miyamoto Musashi. Already a legend, undefeated in over 60 duels. To face Musashi was to step into the jaws of history itself. The journey to Ganryu Island was silent, save for the whispers of the wind over the water. Kojiro's mind raced through every past defeat, every scar, every lesson, every step he had taken to reach this confrontation. Each memory sharpened his focus, transforming fear into an edge. The waves slapped against the shore with the persistence of his grind, a reminder that nature itself mirrored his relentless pursuit. The clouds above were dark and heavy, shifting as if the heavens themselves were holding their breath for what was to come. Kojiro arrived first. Tall and imposing, his great blade gleaming beneath the pale light. Every scar, every bruise, every humiliation had led him to this moment. The air was thick with tension, the kind that pressed against the skin and made the heart beat faster. Birds fell silent, leaves stilled in the wind. Then came Musashi, late, rowing ashore in a small boat. His weapon? Not polished steel, but a wooden sword carved from an oar. To many it looked like mockery. To Kojiro, it was the ultimate challenge. What followed was not just a duel, but a clash of philosophies. Musashi, sharpened by relentless victory; Kojiro, forged in endless defeat. The tension was electric, the air heavy with inevitability. Time seemed to stretch, every heartbeat a drum in the theater of fate. The wind held its breath, the waves paused mid-crash. Even the sun seemed to linger on the horizon, reluctant to watch what was about to unfold. Kojiro's muscles tensed, his eyes locking on Musashi's every motion. In that instant, he could sense decades of battles in the man before him, and yet, he was ready to turn all his own pain into action. Every ounce of his training, every scar, every bruising defeat had been a step toward this singular moment. The accounts differ. Some say Kojiro's swallow strike nearly found its mark. Others say Musashi's timing disrupted it before it could unfold. But the end was clear. Musashi struck the fatal blow. Kojiro fell. On paper, another loss. In reality, something far greater. Because Kojiro's name did not vanish in Musashi's shadow, it stood beside it. His life proved that greatness is not always measured in victories. It is measured in endurance. In the ability to bleed, break, and still rise again, until even in defeat, your name cannot be forgotten. Centuries later, Sasaki Kojiro is still remembered not as a failure, but as the rival of legends. The man who showed Japan that the path to immortality is not always paved with triumph. Sometimes it is carved from the fire of relentless loss. If you believe that every scar, every fall, every failure can be forged into unstoppable strength, hit subscribe, share this story, and step into the world of legends. Witness how even those branded as losers can rise, strike, and carve their names into history.